Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a while since you guys seen my face, and that's because I wanted to put out a lot more gameplay on the channel, kind of flooded a little bit more than I had to begin everything. But we're back here for another discussion type video. I think this is a fun subject. I think this is a subject that we could go on and on and on about. Everyone's gonna have a very strong opinion because I do think this is a topic that everyone at some point has like thought about. So this is essentially a video on leaders that I think deserve a new leader or a first time leader or just like more love in general. Basically, centered around having a leader, an archetype about them. And so we're going to go over some that they're my good ideas. They're what I think the game should do. If you see anything that you disagree with, see any that you think should be added to the list, obviously, like this can't be the longest list in the world. So please go ahead in the comments, suggest what leaders and themes and archetypes and sagas and stuff like that that you think deserves more love. Because I think this is just something that we could talk about for a very long time. And I think it'll never get old as well. So the leaders in this video that I'm going to go ahead and highlight, or characters in general, have to meet one or more of these criteria here. And again, these aren't like concrete. It's just kind of a short guideline for me when I was thinking about all this, which is number one, has not had a leader for a long time. There are characters that have multiple leaders, but it's been years and years since they've had another one. And I just don't think that's right. I think we should try to keep things fresh as possible. We also may have a number of leaders, but none have ever been good. There's a lot of characters like this, and even some very prominent ones that have 3, 4, 5 leaders, but literally none of them have really been playable. Even like when they came out, they were not good. And then maybe they've even received some support in recent years, which wasn't enough because, again, the original leader was too bad. Too prominent of a character to have so few leaders. There are characters that are very iconic or made a big splash to the community when they were introduced, or by the end of their like arc in the show, that they are just like, you know, some of the biggest characters, whether it was Z, OG Dragon Ball, Super, what have you, that they just simply deserve more than maybe the one leader that they have. And then finally, simply does not have a leader at all. Now, this is kind of one of the more rare ones. There's one specific in here that I'll show you that I'm like very passionate about. I don't understand how like this specific character in this specific saga / arc, how this hasn't been turned into a leader. And we'll get into that. So that's essentially the quick and dirty about what this video is. I'm going to run through these. And again, at the end of it, if you have more opinions and you would love to share those things and you're passionate about those, please put them in the comments below. Okay, first up. Toppo / God of Destruction Toppo. I'm a huge Toppo fan. I usually like characters that not a lot of people are really into, and so this is just one of those characters. Like, I'm sitting here, I have this Universal Onslaught mat in front of me. I have a custom mat as well of God Toppo. I've been one of those people who's tried to make the original, the only Toppo leader work each set that comes, each new bit of yellow that we get. I will always think about how that, those new cards would fit into Toppo. So as in regards to this, and you can kind of see at the top, I have like an idea of like what color I would like him to be in. I kind of started doing it for each one, and then I was like, no, I don't want to like think too hard about it, because I think they can make any person fit in any archetype as long as their imagination is there. But my preference is red or green, because two of my favorite colors. I do like playing yellow, is kind of the original color that I started playing when I got into Masters, but I think red or green would be great. I think it fits the destruction concept and theme of him as a god of destruction. Red being minusing, green being flat out just like the removal color and board destruction, hand destruction, what have you, right? It's all built into what those colors want to do. One of the things that gets me excited about BT30 is, if you guys remember that in the distribution notes, that it's revolved around teams of 3. It's the 30th set, so number 3 is kind of important. They're trying to use it in it. We know like some of the secret rares, which I believe are adult SS4 Goku, Family Kamehameha from Second Coming, and then Bulma for some reason is the third one. We don't know anything else besides that, but we do know that this team of 3 thing is going to be part of it, part of the set. Like it's this whole thing. So a new Toppo leader would kind of fit. It'd be the same thing with like Jiren or whatever. But the trio of Toppo, Jiren, and Dispo, kind of their thing during the Tournament of Power, I think fits really well here. Whether it's, you know, Toppo leader, Jiren Unison, Dispo Unison, Jiren are your big boss monsters, stuff like that, you know. And heck, I'd even take a reboot of a leader that utilizes the successor cards, because they gave Toppo and Jiren these sweet successor green-yellow cards. And like, what a cool concept that they just flat out kind of like forgot about or didn't do enough service. So I think that'd be sick. Again, Toppo only has the one expansion leader, right? It only has one leader through 29 sets. The yellow leader, unfortunately, although it's like, it has like very random tops through the years, it is too gimmicky. And like, if this was ever like a really good deck, everyone in the world would just play the cards that immediately make this deck go away, which is to get rid of the Unison. And there are better and better yellow Unisons, yellow 2-cost Unisons, specifically that have made this more of a consistent deck, especially with like the Z deck, being able to pluck a 2-cost Unison, specifically like Tapion Confrontation, to play it out and always awaken when you want to awaken. I just think we could do better with like more on-theme cards. So this is one of my biggest wants. Toppo deserves more love. I think his whole arc, going from, you know, Pride Trooper to forsaking all that he knows, and then really leaning into this God of Destruction thing. I mean, it's too damn cool. And then it's the battle with Vegeta and everybody. Come on, who wouldn't want this? And this next one, I'm also very passionate about, and that is Trunks, specifically from his fight with Mecha Frieza and like early Android Saga Trunks. Okay, it is inexcusable that this is not a leader already in the game. They have a billion Dragon Ball Super Trunkses. We finally got Bojack Trunks, which is one of my favorites. In Fusion World, they got Hyperbolic Time Chamber Trunks in the Saiyan armor, which is also a very cool form of Trunks. We've gotten Kid Trunks. We've gotten, you know, Future Gohan with younger Trunks in the Gohanks Red deck. But like this Trunks, the slashing and dealing with Mecha Frieza in an instant, the catching his death ball with one hand and walking out of the crater with it, the mysterious youth Trunks, like I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying. It was, we watched as kids all the way up through the fight with Frieza and Goku turning into a Super Saiyan, and how long that took, day in and day out, week in, week out, waiting for the next episode to figure out how it's going to happen, how it's going to end. And then we finally get through the big fight, and it was the craziest thing in the world. And then a couple episodes later, this guy shows up. We have no idea who he is. He has a sword, which is the coolest thing, you know, when we're kids. It was awesome. And then he goes Super Saiyan, like just out of the blue. So we had all that build up to the first Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball. And then a second one just appears like that. And then he murks Frieza, kills King Cold, his father, and saves everybody. And it's just like, no one expected this. In terms of like peak coolness in Dragon Ball, this is one of those moments. Like classic. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'll never get over this. It's going to be imprinted in my life for the rest of it. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. It is literally a moment forever etched in our childhoods. For people who watch Dragon Ball from the Z, specifically from the very beginning, this is one of those moments. For the more Gen Z, you know, younger than millennial people, like the definition of aura farming, of he had so many cool stances and poses and things where you just looked at him and were like, I'm cooler for literally sitting here looking at you being cool, right? I think what will be cool, my little idea here at the bottom is just like similar to Polku with the power pole, him having an archetype with his sword. I don't know, again, how you would do it. I just think that's a cool base foundation for an archetype. You could put him in any color. I simply do not care. He needs to be a leader. I don't get it. There are cards with like him slashing Mecha Frieza and some pictures of, you know, him in this specific outfit, but it's from like, you know, the Unison Goku deck. It's from the Android 13 movie, which was cool, but like it's not OG. It's just, So hard to believe that this hasn't been made a leader yet. And this is actually something like whenever they've done the surveys, this is one of the things I put down. I don't know how they haven't done it. Original score Dragon Ball players, if you remember the first orange style mastery from the Trunks saga was this picture of him catching the death ball. One of my favorite cards of all time. Just make him a leader already. That's all I got to say. Okay, so Tien Shinhan. Now, this one doesn't fit, obviously, like, hasn't had a leader for a long time because he just did. Well, he had one leader, and then that leader got rebooted recently, which is great. Tien deserves it. If people love that original leader so much, I do think it's perfectly justified to have rebooted it. The thing is, Tien for the most part only gets love from original like Dragon Ball, right? He's in he's got a card in the Lucifer deck. They obviously rebooted the green leader, but that's all like old young Tien. What I need is a Tien deck that maybe utilizes this moment in interaction with Cell, because it's a very iconic moment from that saga and one of the coolest moments for Tien in general, where he just like, use all his energy to the absolute max, tri-beaming the hell out of Cell to stall for the Saiyans, right? I just think it'd be cool. I think if you wanted to, like, this wasn't much of a fight, right? But like if you were to turn it into an archetype, I think blue, because it's a deck that obviously stalls the best if it wants to. And the theme is literally just you somehow, like whatever the theme is stalling. Maybe it's a Z extra that says whenever for each turn that passes in the game, something gets stronger. There's a bigger and better payoff the longer you're able to stall deeper into the game. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I'd want to make it a mill deck because nobody wants more mill decks. But I just think it's cool. And then if it's not this specific Cell saga moment, then this like Buu saga outfit, I don't know what it would be. Maybe a Tien through like the ages, the eras of Tien type archetype, and the leaders in this outfit. But like, come on, this is Tien's best outfit. If you could fit that into the game somehow, I think it'd be sick. And then my last bullet point here is Tien's score archetype ? And essentially, so for those who are old enough and played the original score game, we grew up with as kids. I'm 31. So like when I'm 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I was still playing the original score game before it died. And Tien's archetype, so the Tien leader was an energy attack leader, for those who remember what that means. And all his attacks essentially got better the more cards that were in your discard pile that had Tien in the name, so Tien named cards. And so I don't know, again, if that's something that they could do in Masters, where it's essentially, also playing on the multi-form thing, right? More Tiens. The more Tiens there are, the more powerful you get. So there's just cards that have like a multi-form tag or something like that in your drop and all your areas to power up everything else. I don't know, just a thought. But it just feels like if for people who love Tien, they deserve more of him than just the original like OG Dragon Ball form of him. Okay, so this one might become like, it might be not popular, and I also think this, when I was starting the video, I was like, this could also be SS4 Vegeta. SS4 Vegeta actually needs more leaders in general because he just has the blue one by himself. So yes, he could have his own thing here. Unfortunately, again, didn't want to put every single character I could think of. But as far as Goku, because I think it's surprising that it is Goku, the guy of Dragon Ball, and it's a prominent form. It's the GT form. He doesn't actually have many leaders by himself. Recently there was the red one that got banned, but it's him and Vegeta. There is the Gogeta leader. But again, it's mainly Gogeta, not so much SS4 Goku. If you type in SS4 Goku and look at his leaders, they're all like really bad. I think there's 4 leaders that are by himself, and only one was ever like good-ish at any point, and that was Zeno Goku. And like if the Zeno versions of a character are the best versions of like the decks, I think there's nothing like wrong with it, but it also doesn't seem like correct, right? Like there should be just a good SS4 Goku, whether that's fighting Baby, fighting Super 17, fighting the Shadow Dragons. Some version of him should stick. So in this one, if you look back at all his leaders, though, it is the ones fighting Baby, and it's the ones fighting Super 17. The ones where he's fighting the Shadow Dragons come with Vegeta, and I don't think like he had fights in Super Saiyan 4 against the Shadow Dragons without Vegeta, so I just think that deserves a leader. I think specifically you would do a fight, the one with Nova and Ice. Now, again, I don't know how this would fit into the archetype, but like remember, Goku was blinded by the Icicle Slash of Ice, and it was kind of a whole thing, right? He had to survive this fight. He had to figure out how to beat Ice, one of the most powerful Shadow Dragons, without being able to see. And I think the whole thing was really, really cool. I mean, he ended up like punching a hole in his stomach, and everyone had a great time and cheered and stuff. And I just think like if you're a big GT fan like me, like this is again an iconic moment. This is something you remember and have fond memories of like watching for the first time. So I just think give the Super Saiyan 4s, Goku and Vegeta, new leaders by themselves. And I think all will be right in the world. I just think it's surprising. Like there's Goku's lineage leaders. There's Helku, which was a cool concept, but just like didn't age well almost at all. Then there was the green SS4, the also kind of Helku version that was like also way too gimmicky. And that also came along with the green Super 17 leader that had the 3 different Z leaders, but was also so convoluted that it was literally one of the worst decks ever made. And especially coming out in it was like Zenkai 3 Power Absorbed. It was so bad, and it was 2 sets after we got the red leaders that were banned from Zenkai 1 being Omega Shenron and Gogeta. So they just deserve better. They've made them too gimmicky, and again, haven't aged well. So this is what I want. I want more GT leaders in general, but like I do think Goku and Vegeta both deserve new leaders, and just simply good ones. That's all. Give them some love. Okay, so you guys probably already know I'm a big Android 13 fan, and I want a good 13 leader. And this is coming from someone who has the red one still built and even has the yellow one still built, which is a deck I think no one else has built because it's so bad and so niche and weird that I might be the only person who spent any sort of time on it. He is one of the most prominent movie characters. He fits into the whole Android arc era group. They're all very popular. I think he deserves more. So he had a green one, which like was good back in the day as like a generic green leader that gained crit, and you played all the best green stuff. You were hand destruction control, and you like made people really want to quit. Now, well, the green one's old as hell. Irrelevant. The yellow one was also literally irrelevant from the very beginning. It was super weird and niche, and like it came out in Evolution Booster, and since it was a smaller set, it didn't get as much love and cards as it probably should have to make it a worthy deck to be played. I still found it fun because my favorite color combination is green and yellow. I love Successor. I love the control aspects of yellow combined with the control aspects and hand destruction of green. So big fan, terrible deck. And then red was undertuned from the very beginning. It got better with the anniversary box stuff, but the fact that it came again a set after, it came out in Zenkai 2, and the set before was Red Sin, Red Gogeta, which were so power crept through the moon that, and everything in Zenkai 1, remember, like it was force-fed ways for you to charge Z energy, whether it was effects on plays, anything that just like push Z energy into that area for you to play the stuff from your Z deck, because that's the whole point of the Zenkai block. And then in Zenkai 2, just the second set in this block, all the leaders were like kneecapped in terms of their ability to conveniently charge Z energy. And Red Android 13, the whole thing was about getting certain names, the 14, 15, 13s, in your Z energy in certain sequences to play out other cards. And then your Z leader needed, I believe, don't quote me off the top of my head, but 3 Z energy to Z awaken. And then you were still a 15k base Z leader, which was bad when all these other good ones were 20k base. But to make your leader for a single attack +5 and double, you had to remove a 14, 15, and 13 from your Z energy, meaning that you ripped 3 Z energy just to do like the one thing that made your Z leader kind of as good as the other good already Z leader. So Too convoluted, too undertuned, and even with the anniversary box support, which it got 3 more cards, still wasn't enough to immediately put it into like a meta red deck at the time of its release. This is another one that fits the Team of 3 theme with BT30. 13, 14, 15 against the Saiyans. I'm also potentially excited for another Saiyan trio leader because the red one that came out opposite Red 13 was also so bad that I only know one guy who ever tried to play it, and it pissed him off so much in those games where he was trying to play it because, again, it was just so bad. That trio deserves more love as well. I wasn't going to make a whole slide for them, but again, such a cool thing, such a cool movie. Deserves more love. Specifically for this one, I have blue leader for a new color, but I would also take a new green or a reboot because there are a lot of green 13 cards that they could maybe find a way to play easier if they want to do that, or just blue because there's a lot of blue Android cards in general. And there's actually blue 14, 15, and 13 cards, although specifically those are for like Gamma and maybe I think Android 21 I might be forgetting, but they're in the color, just not a blue 13 liter. So this is my qualm with this. Give me something better. Give me something that's like good that other people are playing because it's good, not because it's just me playing one of my favorite niche characters. All right, so this might be one that isn't super welcomed, and I'm actually not a big fan of Ribrianne at all. I think the character design and all this stuff is super goofy. I think this is like some of the worst of Dragon Ball Super. But I was asking my locals today about ideas they had for people that they believe or characters that deserved leaders. And Ribrianne was one of them because this came out in BT2. And it was the only leader for Universe 2. It was a prominent enough universe in the Tournament of Power. They had their own, string of episodes and fights with the main characters. Yes, they probably deserve more. Or just simply a new leader. So it's just time. I don't have an idea of archetype or anything. It also fits the theme of BT30 and this group of 3s. But, throw Hellas in there. We've got some god stuff. Maybe it's the color white and you get to use, maybe it's a Hellas leader and you get to use some of those white god cards that need a white god leader and stuff like that. I don't know. This is just one of those things that if I'm truly thinking about people who deserve it, whether I like them or not, I think Ribrianne and U2 and these guys probably deserve that. Hit. A lot of people ask for new U6 leader, a playable U6 leader. There's been a lot. They all haven't been that great. Some have seen some time in the sun, and right now, one of the decks in the entire game is Search Kefla, which is an old deck that got the right support and immediately shot into the stratosphere in terms of being a meta contender, right? It was second at NA Nationals and has been topping constantly, right? Since people figured out that you can just smash the good blue and yellow and be a very good deck. So as far as Hit and U6, Hit deserves it. He has 2 other leaders. He had set 1, and then he had a set 7 leader. And then set 1 got rebooted, and I want to say in 2 anniversary boxes ago, maybe I'm lying, Red Hit got support. Actually, no, it was this last one. It's gotten 2 of them. It had the okay, so 3 years ago or something like that, they had the Unison for Hit that helped out the deck, and then this last anniversary box they had the Champa Z battle and other support. So it got good stuff. It's just it is still an archetype based around skillless cards. If you're playing it, the way the deck wants to be played. I think that's terrible. I think skillless leaders have never been all that good. Unless they were just like a baseline skillless package with the best of the best or the ability to play the best of that color or whatever it ends up being in. Hit's too prominent of a character in Super. Very important. This relationship with Goku, the battles in the trial before the Tournament of Power, and then their time in the Tournament of Power. He deserves better. We need a new Hit leader. And then I just think it's a cop-out that the only good U6 leader right now is the Saiyan. All the Saiyan decks tend to be good, and I know that comes with the territory of it being Dragon Ball, but non-Saiyans need love, and I think Hit is one of those characters that definitely deserves it. So another one my locals kind of brought up was Babidi Deborah. And then I got to thinking, well, just like, when was the last time we got a Babidi leader that was just Babidi? And then that led to me thinking, oh, we've never had a Pui Pui leader. We never had a Yakon leader. And coming from Dragon Ball Score, like every character had either just like one personality or a whole stack. And that included Yakon and Pui Pui and Deborah and stuff like that. Well, you know, in Masters, I think there was Red Babidi way back in the day. We had Set 11 Green Babidi with Majin Vegeta, but Babidi was involved with more people than just Vegeta and Majin Buu, right? His henchmen, which was a cool string of episodes in that saga, Goku against Yakon, Vegeta against Pui Pui, and then Gohan ended up fighting Deborah. So, like, these guys haven't got a leader centered around this in a very long time, and they absolutely deserve it. Pui Pui and Yakon do not have leaders in this game. I do think you can make any of those be a leader. It might not, like, again, they're not prominent characters, but the limit to the game devs is their imagination. You can slap anybody you want on a leader, and as long as you can come up with an archetype or a way the deck plays that kind of fits, I think you roll with it. One of the other craziest things was, and I've played this deck a lot, so Deborah Swap is one of my favorite niche pet decks since I started playing. It was super aggro, but it was like unique characters. Deborah Zeno is kind of a cool character, and then like finding out that his relationship with all, like, you know, the Demon Realm people, you know, the non-Diamond Demon Realm people in Zeno and Heroes, I thought that was all sweet. But then you realize Deborah has only one leader, and it is a Zeno character, and like this, I just feel is completely wrong. Zeno and Heroes and stuff should be such a secondary thing to everybody from Z, GT, Super, OG, whatever. And the fact that Deborah, his only leader, is a Zeno one, it just doesn't sit right with me. I think he deserves actual normal Deborah and like a fight here with Gohan. It was so cool. It gave us Super Saiyan Gohan in just like the black jumpsuit, right? This was really cool. He was part of that. Give him that. Give him his time in the spotlight, because he absolutely deserves it. And then I think this next one is my final one. And Mr. Popo deserves a leader. It's time. I have no thoughts about what he does, what color he should be in, any details like that. I didn't care. I didn't want to think about it. But what I do know is that he deserves a leader. Put this next to Farmer with a shotgun for those guys who want to knight up for him to have a card at least in Masters. But just like, it's Mr. Popo, man. Do a lookout archetype with Kami, with Dende, mini Mr. Popo from Daimo. We finally got to see him without his turban. Turns out he has horns. He deserves it. That's my list. Mr. Popo, please. Yeah, that is it. Again, this is a conversation that I can go on and on and on and on. I can go on and on and on, but I had to cut this off at a certain point. I would absolutely love to hear you guys talk about what you would want, your thoughts and everything in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, tell your friends about it. We have a good time here, I like to believe. You guys have been so great. It's been so much fun doing this. It's been really easy to do this, you know, kind of every other day chain that I've been on. And some of these last few ones that I was able to put up as far as gameplay videos seem to be popping off. You guys seem to like the gameplay, the decks being used, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I just want stuff that you guys want to enjoy, that you want to engage in, and watch when you have free time. So appreciate it all. Again, hit the comments. I want to know all your thoughts. And like always, I'll see you guys in the next episode.